Hi, everybody. This is Coach Allison back, and I have week 31 Defy Aging to review. All right, this week, two circuits. First circuit's going to be in your own space, and second circuit's going to be standard rotations with stations. Circuit one is going to be 5 rounds. There's only two exercises, so 5 rounds isn't too scary. 5 rounds of 20 seconds on, 30 seconds off, and these exercises are going to be only lower body. So we're going to get your leg stuff done right off the bat. Circuit two is going to be, again, I said the standard rotation, so it's going to be stations, and you're going to be circling around the turf. This is going to be 5 exercises, I believe. Yes, and that's going to be for 3 rounds of the more standard 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off. All right, let's go through our exercises. The first exercise in circuit A, that's the one that's in your own space, that is 20 seconds on, 30 seconds off. It's going to be a sumo squat. Okay, and again, it's only 20 seconds of this. So with the sumo squat, it's a wide stance with the toes angled out a little bit. And the most important thing with the sumo is where your knees and ankles line up at the bottom of the squat. So sometimes you're not sure how wide to go with your legs. And the way you determine that is, again, where your knees and ankles line up at the bottom. So I'm going to show you this, and I've done these so many times that I just know muscle memory how wide to stand. So you can see at the bottom of my squat, my knee is directly on top of my ankle. So my shin is perfectly straight up and down. So this would be an adequate sumo squat. With a sumo, you want a little bit of forward lean. That just happens naturally. If you try to stay perfectly straight up and down, it's not going to put your legs in the right angle. And if you lean too far forward, you're really just bending and kind of turning into a deadlift. So a little bit of forward lean. Now, if you're too narrow with your stance, now my knees are out too far and my ankles are too far in. If you're too wide, oh my goodness, doing the splits. If you're too wide with your stance, your ankles are too far out and your knees are too far in. So again, use a mirror if you can, so you can determine the right wideness of your stance. And at the bottom of that squat, you want your ankle and knee to be straight up and down from one another. And that's how you know you have a perfect sumo squat. You can choose to hold a kettlebell at the bottom for this if you'd like. So I would have a kettlebell here to add a little weight. But considering we're doing 5 rounds of this, and there's kind of going to be a plyometric, there's going to be a jump involved in this circuit. I don't know if you're going to want a weight. You can have one and start with it, maybe ditch it if you need to halfway through. But again, you can choose to use a weight if you'd like. Exercise 2 for circuit A is a jump squat. Now we're going to a normal squat position, so no more wide, no more sumo. Feet are hip width apart, kind of a normal stance for you. And we go into a normal squat. So feet are hip width apart, sinking those hips down and back like you're sitting back into an imaginary chair. But we're going to come up with a jump. So yes, our feet are leaving the floor a little bit. You don't have to get crazy high off the floor. Just try to leave the floor a little bit. The most important thing with a jump squat isn't the height, really, it's the landing. When you land, you should land nice and soft, cushion your landing, go right down into the next squat. Don't stop hard and then squat. And I'll show you what I mean by that. I'm going to land, and then I'm bending my knees instantly, going right into the next squat. So they're just happening simultaneously. They're going nonstop. That's the safest kind of impact, safest on your knees, back, ankles. What we want to avoid is doing a jump, stop, down, jump, stop, down. That's jarring. It's more impactful on your knees and everything. So we're trying to avoid that. So, oh my goodness. So we want to land and go right down. Don't necessarily worry about how high you're getting. If your feet only leave the floor like a little bit, that's totally fine. If the impact is not an option for you, it's supposed to be hard. Let's make that determination. If it's hard, that's good. We want the challenge. But meaning if it's not an option for you due to impact issues, or a restriction with your knees or your back. So if needed, turn it into a fast squat. So we're going to go more for speed. We're going to take out the jump, but we're going to add some speed. Okay, so 2 options there. That is exercise 2 for circuit A. All right, moving on to circuit 2, which has 6 exercises. I think in the intro I said 5, but it's 6. So there's 6 stations. First one is an TRX overhand row. We've done neutral grip, we've done underhand. This week is overhand. So pretty straightforward as far as what that means. I think overhand grip, this would be neutral, this would be underhand, this is overhand. So your fingernails are facing the floor, palms facing the floor. The farther down you step, the harder this becomes, so you can judge where to put your feet depending on how hard you want this to be. So if you're more upright like this, it's a little easier. Okay. Just keep your shoulders down. We don't want them to shrug. That's kind of common, so no shruggy. Shoulders down away from the ears. And elbows kind of flare out just a little bit. We don't want to, if they're too low, that kind of automatically turns it to a neutral grip. We want to keep that overhand grip. Okay, squeeze your shoulder blades together behind you, kind of so you're trying to get the elbows as far back as you can. And stop at the top before there's slack on the TRX. So come up with control, keep the hands and keep the wrist straight, so don't allow the wrist to bend. What else? When you're coming back, don't allow your hips to fold like this. So you're not coming back with your hips like that. Your body stays straight like a plank, slow and controlled. When you're coming up to the top, kind of get your chest out, proud chest. Yeah, you're going to feel a lot of arms because you can't avoid that, although it is a back exercise. So you want to be feeling it kind of by squeezing those shoulder blades together back behind you. You want to be feeling that upper back, kind of the back of the shoulders for the overhand row. Stability ball chest press is the next one. All right. So you have your weights in your hands already. You're going to sit on the ball first. I suggest putting your weights on your legs like this as you get started. Crawl forward until your upper back and head are on the ball. It's very important you have your head on the ball. You don't want to stop here where your head's not on the ball, because then you have to support your head with your neck and your neck just gets really tired. Or you're doing this and that's not comfortable. You don't want your head drooping back too far. So crawl forward far enough. That feels really good. So your head is supported. Upper back and head is supported. Now, we don't want the hips to sink down. So use the strength in your legs to get your hips up. Okay, palms forward, elbows dip down a little so my elbows aren't straight out to the side. So I'm dipping them down just a little. Chest press. I think many of you who've been with us for a long time know the chest press. Typically we do this on the floor. This is a harder variation. Press those weights up slowly, but slow and controlled. Okay, when you're done, you can either kind of keep them in tight to your chest and sit up with them, or you can kind of drop them to the floor so your hands are free and roll back up that way. You can do that on the floor or on a bench. Those are other options if the ball is not working for you. Next station is a back exercise. It's entire posterior chain, so it's a great exercise. It's the seal, which is a variation of Superman. So you're on your stomach. Superman would be arms straight out. For the seal, the arms are back. And go ahead and take your palms and flip them so palms are facing the ceiling. Keep your neck neutral, so keep your nose pointed towards the floor. We lift everything as you exhale. Very important to exhale with the lift. So exhale as you lift. Inhale at the bottom. Exhale, lift. So you're lifting the legs too, but not bending the knees. So just kind of lift the legs as much as you can. You're not going to lift them much, probably, just so you can see how much I'm able to lift mine. You're trying to get as much of the torso, chest and torso off the floor as possible. At the top, you want to squeeze the shoulder blades together. So I'm kind of drawing my arms up and in. The higher you go, the more you're activating and working those back muscles. For anyone unable to do our floor exercises, it's no problem. We're going to turn it into an incline bird dog. Do this one quite often. So you'll need something incline, a bench. Again, neutral neck, so keep looking, pointing your nose towards your bench here. One arm goes up in the opposite leg. Pause for a moment in the lifted position. Keep a soft bend in the knee here, so I'm keeping this leg slightly bent. And that's going to get a similar result, similar muscle activation. So that is the alternative. Medicine ball, low, high, chop. So we want something relatively light for this because our arms are going to be out full wingspan or arm span, I guess. And the farther out you have your arms extended, it makes what you're holding feel heavier and heavier. So if you use something 10 pounds, it might be too hard to get your arms fully out here. So I'm using a 4-pound ball. Wide stance, just enough to feel kind of stable. We're going to be doing some pivoting here. So it's starting low and going high. So I'm going to start from my left, go up to my right. So we start low, let the head follow the ball. So wherever your hands go, your eyes go. Very important. So I'm looking towards the ball, and I'm pivoting up towards the right because the ball is going to the right. So sorry, I'm turning to my right, so my left foot's pivoting. See that? So I'll do a few so you can just see the pivot, slow and controlled, going back as far as I can, and down with control. It's very important that the down has control. A couple more. Exhale with the lift. Okay. Halfway through, we're going to change sides. Next station is the tank push. Really get low, driving those feet back. Keep your back nice and flat. And yeah, so I know some of our sessions at our clubs get really, really full. So what I think those clubs should do is put as much weight on here as possible. So add some plates or kettlebells to the middle, and there can be one person on each side. So I would have a partner here on this side, and I'm holding one handle, and you can kind of partner that. I think that'd be a good way. I don't think any of our clubs have 2 tanks. So if your session is really full and you need to double up at one station, 2 people on one tank with a lot of weight on that tank. Final station, low plank march. Low plank refers to being on the elbows as opposed to a high plank is on the hands. And the march refers to a little bit of movement with the knees. So first your plank, elbows directly under shoulders, hips level, so our hips are not way up here. And I'm going to very slowly and gently tap one knee, bend one knee so it's tapping gently to the floor. Don't go fast and slam your knees. That's not going to feel very good, first of all. But that's not correct, second of all. Okay, now there's not a knee version of that, unfortunately, because if you're on your knees, you can't tap your knees to the floor. So no worries. We're going to do, for anyone who typically would do a knee plank variety, or anyone who would typically do an incline variety, we're going to do an incline variety. So with a little bit of the same movement. Now, obviously you can't bring your knee to the floor, so you don't have a target of actually touching something with your knees for this. That's okay. So find your incline plank again. Try to get pretty level with your body position so we're not way up here. Okay. And do the same thing, just kind of a little bend, little march with one knee at a time. So that is our low plank march. And that brings us to our team builder. So it's going to be a partner team builder. So it's going to be a shuffle mirror. So you're going to be face to face with your partner. So you would be my partner. But unfortunately, my camera can't move. So this might be kind of hard to explain. Coaches will understand because they've done this before in some of their other groups. Shuffle, we all know shuffle. We've done that a lot. So this is a shuffle, kind of right, sort of halfway down on a squat, kind of staying light on the balls of your feet. One partner is the leader. The other one is this is bothering me. Other one is kind of the follower. And then we'll do 30 seconds each, then you'll switch. But if I was the leader, I'm going to start shuffling, but at any given time, I'm going to start switching direction. So I'm like really trying to trip up my partner. I'm trying to confuse them as much as possible. And my partner's just trying to keep up. So when I decide I'm going to switch direction, my partner has to try to kind of mirror me and follow me. So I can go the full length and just go back and forth if I want to, but I can start and stop and switch direction whenever I want. And we're going to do that for 30 seconds, take a quick rest, and then the other partner gets to be the leader. So have fun with it. It's kind of working reaction time and how quickly you can start and stop, keep your balance, keep control. But really, I think the reaction time is the main focus of this one, but it's also all in fun. So have fun with it. Don't overthink it. And yeah, that's our team builder. Okay, everybody, that's week 31. Hope you enjoy it. See you back next week.